Hi. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meyer. Just Cheryl is fine. I love being in nature now. I used to not, believe it or not. So I'm in Big Bear, in Southern California. I just woke up at about 4 in the morning and then decided to drive up here today because I had the day off. So I left around 5:30. But what I was going to talk about today was just whatever's going on in me. I feel like it's universal. Other people have to be experiencing the same kind of thing. You're resonating with me, or else you wouldn't have found this video, or it wouldn't have come to you. So I'll just speak honestly. So I was listening to Eckhart Tolle on the way up here. A little bit of the Lord of the Rings, but that wasn't till I got on this trail. But he was talking about how all enlightened people have this understanding of what it takes to basically it's not about just, oh, I want to become Zen, I want to become enlightened. It's I mean, there's so many things involved in this. As I stay unconscious, I know that I act out of my pain body. You know, your egotism, all of the collective, oh, there's a hawk over there. All of the collective wounds. Well, just be present for a second. I've been here for a while. But you can listen to what's around me. I heard these blue jays, I heard them, their wings flapping. It's so silent up here. I want to remember the silence. Just being in the silence is so much. It could be enough. Because we keep going back in our mind and think we have all these problems to solve and everything. And what it will keep coming back to is learning how to be present. Having a deep presence, developing a deep presence within yourself, developing consciousness. Because when I'm unconscious, I'm speaking for myself of what I know, what I experience, then I get triggered by other people and my egotism flares up and my reactions flare up, and people, let's see, on the scale of consciousness, you know, on that chart, that I think Hawkins is the one that created that. I mean, it's been since all time, but like there's guilt and shame and anger and jealousy and all those things on the bottom. And so there's enlightenment and joy and peace and love and bliss and flow and expansiveness towards the top. So I don't want to hurt other people, and I don't want to get hurt by other people. And I don't want to be afraid of facing pain, my past pain or any pain. So I don't want to run from it. And a lot of the time we won't enter, this is what I'm noticing in me, is we won't enter the stillness because we think our pain is going to surface, and it probably will surface. In fact, look at love is all you need. I put it on at like 4 in the morning. And so it might surface, it might in the silence, but Eckhart Tolle and other people were saying, you know, that like as you enter the silence more and more, the presence, your consciousness, the consciousness is like the Christ in you is like the shining sun, the logos. Out of the logos, everything was created out of the essence of the divine love. And that I'm trusting will burn up our pain body. And if we don't get identified with the pain that surfaces or run from it again and go back to our ego highs. It's funny because last night I was singing hooked on a feeling, high on believing you're in love with me. But I was reflecting, like Elliot and I used to talk about briefly, I mean, we talked about it and then it was just known between us that all of the longing songs for the girl, the one girl or the guy, but I had this mixtape that I made for him based on our conversation. And about Kierkegaard, he had a CD, Elliot Smith had a CD, an album, whatever, called Either Or, based on Kierkegaard's Either Or. And it's all about this higher longing that we have inside. You know, all of the lower things that we run after, there's a higher version of those things. So what is that Oasis song that reminds me of it? Not maybe, you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my wonder wall. It's not that one. It's a different one where it's like, oh yeah, where were you while we were getting high? Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide, champagne supernova in the sky. The high, even the high, hooked on a feeling, high on believing that you're in love with me. It's in love. You're entering into love. There's this, bring me a higher love. Oh. I don't know if begging's the right way, but I beg the divine. You know, I beg divine love. Bring me a higher love. Help me to know what this is. Help me to teach others and not lead any of you guys in any direction that's not best. So just, if ever I do, ask for, higher intervention, higher understanding, higher wisdom than whatever I'm conveying. I'm conveying to you as I know it, as I'm learning in this moment. Some days I have a higher understanding, some days I have a lower, but they say it's like this, or one of my priests were telling me before, it's like that. So some days you feel really low, but you're on a trajectory, not just in your head knowledge, but hopefully deep presence with the divine love and within yourself. And so I'm high on, hooked on a feeling, high on believing you're in love with me. Even I'm in love with you. It's just this idea, I'm in love. Let's find where love is, true love, source, and connect with source. You connect with source, I connect with source. We each connect with divine love. And then that light, like the presence of that builds up in us, in each of our cells, and shines through us to other people, so they are attracted to that consciousness like we're attracted to it. As we experience and know this higher love, we'll stop chasing our momentary ego highs that keep tricking us. I met this guy on YouTube, and I signed up for some of his classes. One of his classes. It's like a trick. It's like entrapment. He came under the guise of egotism, which I know some of my videos will look like that, but I'm not trying to have any guise, and I don't think he is either. But you know, obviously it says, like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and he just showed up as one of my new teachers, like Rumi did. When I went to Rumi's grave, I ought to read sometime. I got like a download, like I was writing down what these impressions I got from Rumi when I was at Rumi's grave, and they were incredible, and they were helping me today, because he was showing me something about seeing the bigger picture, and how I get so caught up in these little stupid things, and not to minimize, like, it's still important to have boundaries when people are being destructive, but that's also not them. Not to make excuses for yourself or anyone else. But we're all made out of the essence of God. Anyway, with this teacher, I was going to say, was helping me about was, he's just really direct, and he's just like, just stop that. Let go of this addiction and that addiction and this addiction and going to this and all these ego highs. And he named them. Da 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 da. He's like, just stop all of that. Put it aside. You know, put it all in a box, wrap it up, set it aside. You know, whatever it is. If it's like a pack of cigarettes, if it's, you know, whatever it is, you know, if you have something and you need to talk to a doctor about getting off of something, then, you know, I definitely recommend that. I'm not just saying stop everything cold turkey, but mine were addictions of habit, you know, of numbing in certain ways and trying to find answers for things because I didn't trust. When you grow up, when you trust your parents, you know, as a child, and they're not in that expansive awareness state, you know, and this high vibration of love, then and they distrust intimacy themselves, then they'll try to shut it down in you. Unconsciously they will. Just like if you go to a psychologist or a therapist that doesn't work on this interior stuff, as soon as you start going that direction, they'll be like, no. Like subconsciously they'll redirect you back to a less painful place, you know. But he was like, this is an addiction, and that's an addiction, and that's an addiction, to just, you know, and he was even talking about YouTube. Go to your YouTube feed, and on the right corner, this is how it was, you know, there's 3 little dots, and say not interested, because it'll take a while for the algorithm to start over, you know, and give you different videos, like nature videos, I'm not kidding, whatever, you know. But that's what I was saying, is when we grow up and we're trusting like we are as children, and then things fall apart, you know, or our parents act out of their own unconscious, subconscious pain bodies, then we learn not to trust the universe or God or the divine love, or, you know, that things aren't going to work out. So what I say sometimes is I learn to hustle, you know, and I learn to get things done and take care of things myself. And so then I don't, sometimes, you know, I run into this problem of not trusting that things will work out, or that what, let's say, Christ has begun in me, he or divine love as he and she, as Mother Earth, or I don't know, I don't want to, it's just as this, the divine love is above male and female, but as this embracing presence, you know, loves me, and I can trust that things will work out. And even if they don't, they don't. Or if they don't in the moment, they don't. But as I observe my distrusting thoughts and go, that's not me, those are my thoughts. It's developing that observing eye that I've talked about in so many other ways, you know? Like sailboats just passing. You are this presence behind that's watching the thoughts. It's hard when you get triggered. It feels like, no, it's that person and it's me, and you know, and just take a deep breath and take a step back. And don't identify with your egotism or your sometimes I braid. See, it's like that moment just passed. But when you're in the moment, when you're in the pain, it feels like, you know, your logical brain goes out and you don't know time anymore. And so it feels like that pain is going to last forever. When you're in the bliss, oh, the love and the bliss, it feels like that love is going to last forever, you know? And so, like, some of us, all of us in some way or another will go and try to run after and chase that moment. But like I said in one of my last videos, it's not about stealing. We don't want to steal that, you know? But just as we learn to develop more presence, then I'm trusting that our pain body will burn away more and will become more conscious and less inclined to go try to steal ego highs, because we see through the ego more and more and see that it just offers us temporary fix and dependence on form, the form of a physical thing or another person. I loved what Eckhart Tolle, I just happened to be hearing about how he described relationships. And, you know, I mean, he talked about sexual union is just this, inside of it, in it is this higher longing for spiritual union. It's the male and the female wanting to come together as one, but it's like it's like we have this longing of union to go back in the oneness with God, with the divine love. You know, people misuse the word God. So with that, oh, there's the sun, that from which we came. So I love how C.S. Lewis puts it too. He says, you know, we're far too easily pleased. We run after. We're like children who would rather make mud pies in a slum instead of go to a holiday at sea. We're far too easily pleased. He says we run after sex and ambition and, you know, I've got all these cars, I've got all this money, I've got these purses, you know, and this status, this money, this whatever. But what if there's something deeper, higher, that's calling us? And as we learn to walk towards that, we'll get through our fears and our fears of intimacy and our fears of letting go of ego highs, and we'll like accept a higher path, develop deeper presence. And it's like then we're operating on the 20th floor instead of looking at everything from the 3rd floor, you know? And we're less pulled into things or swayed by things or losing ourselves in unconsciousness and reacting. We embrace that there is this higher love, and our soul is calling us to that. And it's here right now. You don't have to wait till the end of this video or for another video or another teacher. All right. I wish you love. Thanks for joining me.